How's it going? Thank you so much for joining me. So here's Polina, and here's us together talking about the month of March and what to expect. So I suppose I shouldn't bore you too long with this. We have the equinox this month, and we do have the beginning of the new year. So in ancient traditions, they usually would actually celebrate the birthday of Baal the god, who was the predecessor of a lot of different, I suppose, cultures and beliefs in the Middle East and Europe alike. They used to celebrate this on the 1st of April. There are certain cultures that celebrate the new year on the 21st of March on the equinox. And then there's others that just have their sort of like special events and things kind of sprinkled around this time. And of course, we celebrate the goddess Easter. Easter is something that we don't necessarily have to talk about, but it is all connected with the energy of spring and the spirit of joy and the spirit of renewal. Also, if you look at the traditional calendar, it all comes to an end in February basically, and March marks the beginning. So, for example, September being 7, October, octagon being 8, November being 9, December being the 10th month, and so on. So you see, even in the traditional way that the months are marked, they don't coincide with the numbers that we've given them in our modern calendar. So even that makes absolutely no sense. And yes, of course, I talk about this every single year, celebrating the new year in the beginning of January doesn't make any sense, as it lands in the middle there, or in the first part of Capricorn, and Capricorn is not going to give you anything basically. So it's a really, really hard time to be proud. Maybe it's very, very hard time to be thorough, very hard time to be connected if you've already spent all your juices in the first couple of months of the year, and the first couple of months being January and February, which are actually the 11th and 12th month. So why this matters is because there's like a tapering and a waning that naturally has to happen. Also, with a natural lifetime, with age, we naturally have to get slower and more psychically advanced and more kind and mellow as we age, to be able to afford more time and to be able to afford a lovelier life. And if we look at the zodiac, the Pisces is the last sign. So this is like no man's land. This is where your previous karmas and your previous years basically get eroded, and you start to become very peaceful, very calm, very sleepy, and very docile in order to be able to transit into the next life or the afterlife. With Aries happening on the 21st of March being the main stabilizer and the main big bout of yes, we can. You know, it's the global ascendant. It is where we enter the world. This is where the baby comes out of the womb screaming and life starts all over again. So you see, in terms of how we see the year, even globally, if we look at ancient tribes, there was definitely a maturing and a tapering of energy. There was a significance that was already found in Capricorn and Aquarius. And there was like a lulling and like kind of a sadness or a sleepiness, a drowsiness that naturally would have happened in Pisces energetically anyway. And then eventually, you see, we start March with this big galloping emotional time with Easter and the holidays of Baal and different traditions and things already marking this time as the time of fertility, the time of the start, the time of the baby, the newborn. And yes, also time for conflict in some places in the world. Definitely there is a conflicting emotional part of Aries, as some people believe Aries is kind of like the god of war. And there is definitely part of that in the picture here. But it's not just about this. It is about renewal and joy. And in a sense, yes, it is also about power. And whether or not it is used correctly is up to you. It's up to you. So anyway, what can I say about this time? We have Venus and Jupiter conjunct in the first house of the chart in Aries, and we also have Vesta and Eris and Juno there as well as Chiron. So it's a very, very hopeful time. We are starting the month pretty much on this conjunction. There's going to happen a couple of days in the first couple of days of March. Now this is really, really hard for me because I'm seeing that a lot of people pay so much attention to status and culture and external appearance of how people look. how they walk, how they talk, who they are, how much money they have. So status and ability to please and impress other people. Now, this is a big no-no. So this is depending on how you see the world and how you believe you look. And I've already had actually quite a lot of people come to me during this month prepared for this time and asking really big questions. How do I look? How do I look? How do I present? How should I make myself look in front of people? So this is a very, very tidal thing. This is not modern. This has happened throughout human history. People that don't really have enough peace and quantums inside, they do like to spend up large and do things externally that are big, that are impressive, and that are group-based also. So in terms of Pisces being a very, very quick and very knowing, very quick to judge sign also, it's important. And I think there needs to be a certain type of distinguishment to be made when we are actually who we are and when we're not who we are. Because it's not just about lying, it's about covering up the previous things. It's about covering the blemishes with concealer. It's about covering one's personality with a completely different energy, getting artificial set of skills, getting artificial friends, getting an artificial lover or partner involved during this time just to be able to succeed. So we also have Leo here with Lilith and Sappho, the poet. This incredible asteroid brings so much mystery and so much class and so much sexuality and mystery, mystical mystery. I already said mystery a few times there. So much flavor is brought up to the surface. People really want to be sensual. People want to be crazy. People want to be loved. And it's not just this. People want to appear in front of others as something they aren't. And also in Pisces, we are so used to seeing liars and also faith givers that don't actually have any faith of their own. So for example, people motivating other people that have absolutely no faith in their day. People trying to make as much money as they can from other people. And also people establishing their worth based on what other people think of them. So this is really huge now. Pluto is next to Hygeia, and Hygeia really wants to know things. And by the end of the month, Hygeia passes Pluto in Aquarius. This curiosity is kind of finished, but we have Eros crossing Pluto. So this sexual or emotional drive is going through the roof. And some of us are going to really want to know those people that really want to speak out during this time and be somebody. So this is not for every single person. Imagine a rabbit years like this. You have masses and masses of people, and sometimes you have only one leader in a mass of people. That isn't something that can be extended to and made now or later. It's either you are or are not already seen as a leader or in the mass. And I think not everybody is going to have a full potential if they try or they suddenly start to lead people here, but some people already are known to be leaders and they can probably step up or finally find the guts to be it. But not everybody is made to be now up, ahead or on the surface. So if you can imagine, this is how I see this month. Like there's lots of rabbits, lots of burrows, lots of holes inside the ground where people are hiding. There's lots of people trying to get ahead or trying to get themselves across, but not everybody is brave or quick enough to jump up and run across the field. Not every rabbit has what it takes to be able to be strong during these times, to be able to be knowledgeable and to be able to be the leader of other rabbits, because we are in the water rabbit here. It's a very sensitive, very sensitized time. Not every single person is going to get to lead, but there are some people that are, of course, already kind of circled as a leader. So that means they are, in a way, through natural selection, through word of mouth, or through some accident already chosen. And those are the leaders now that probably will be the leaders of today and tomorrow. So if you are somehow, in a way, circled and people look at you differently and you're already noticing that there is a certain type of energetic dance of people being made around you, maybe a leader you are not, but you are going to be, or you're going to be the one later on. Also in terms of being the one. Now this is hard. Being the scariest looking or the most wonderful looking person in the world is not going to make you the one. Suddenly getting a whole body of tattoos is not going to make you the one. But that does happen, like people wanting to be the one so much with this Jupiter and Venus conjunction. in the house of the body, especially with also this Seppo and Lilith at a beautiful trine. People want so much. They try so hard to be somebody. They want so much to get there. They want so much to have the big hair or the big smile or the big cheesy grin and feeling like, yeah, I got it, you guys, I got it. We sometimes want it because we really don't have it or we don't know how to apply it. So if you're somebody who hasn't achieved anything and you've scattered your energy, you squandered your time, or you don't feel very good about things, the idea is basically to relax and let it go. And those of us that are also beyond the idea of being noticed and status and power and a certain rhythm with society, gonna get a lot. So people that don't care about fashion or culture, people that don't take certain substances, people that don't involve in certain groups, that really couldn't care less what other people think of them, people that are just free to experience their day and expose those feelings as they come, and maybe also people choosing solidity or like a certain state of innocence and inner significance over like other people's bodies or other people's choices are going to be one of the luckiest people. So people living off the grid, people living outside of the city, people not participating in any kind of barrage and garbage of energy, a lot of energy just basically backwashing through society, recycled materials, constant chatter, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, any kind of also platonic relationships that people constantly are making to be able to possess themselves with other people or to feel like they're possessed by another person, possessiveness, sexuality, strong pheromones, strong love at first sight, all of these incredibly juicy and kind of like pungent energies. If you don't want that and you're actually understanding that you would rather have some time alone, and you've come to a certain age or a certain era of your maturity where you don't feel triggered by what other people say or how things look on the outside, you've done it, congratulations, you basically can go home now. So what I'm saying about this is like some people, it's not that they're outdated, it's not that they're no longer on the shelf, it's not like that, but they're no longer available or they're no longer primitive enough to be able to serve in these societal circles. So for example, that's when women start to dress the way that they just basically are, and they choose clothes that fit their bodies instead of clothes that are going to make other people feel different. So it's not about other people's choices and behavioral patterns, it's just about how you feel. It's like, so what am I going to do today? I'm going to have a sleep in, I'm going to go and, I don't know, do some things around the house and that's it. So I'm going to just choose naturally normal and non-radical clothes. Anybody that suddenly wants to speak out, suddenly wants to jump out, it's going to be seen miles away. So like the whole idea basically is not to be one of those nerve-wracking people that is constantly tired and is looking to succeed. So that's going to be very obvious also. Neuroticism and people's nerves being on edge, but their life has pushed them so far and so hard that they have to be a jester, or they have to slow down when other people want them to slow down, and also speed up when other people expect them to speed up. So all of this nervousness, we have Saturn, time, the guidance of time, also going into Pisces. I will be posting a whole series on this in the first part of the month. This is very, very hard for me also because I've also noticed that like certain people that I like and I understand have a certain type of nervousness, and their nervous system is either too high or too low. And this is kind of like Masha and the Three Bears, you know, the story where this bed was too big and or too hard, and this bed was too soft, and then this bed was just right. If you know Masha and the Three Bears, you know. So I feel that quite a lot of people that are not guided by this whole system of society, that are not guided by fashion statements, that are not guided by media, are going to just basically find that which is normal for them, and within that is something classical and peaceful. So not too big and not too soft, and not too grand and not too small. People are going to easily fill out a space that feels absolutely pure and lukewarm. These people are the ones with the choice, and a lot of other people don't have a choice, because basically what I'm seeing other people do is play a game with time and other people that pushes them forward on and on and on in a certain job or a certain risk taker's position or like a certain teacher's role or other roles. And then those that have a few more dollars and cents, yeah, and people that have saved some money or people that have saved some time, people that are more pure maybe or more conscious, or they have been provided a certain space or territory by their family, so inherited homes or inherited lifetimes, they're going to be absolutely no nonsense free. It just won't look very trendy. So it is sometimes interesting. People that really are doing the work and that are doing very well will not be seen. They will be not on the surface, and they will be not noticed by other people because of just, how normal and kind of scary drab is their existence. And it's interesting because it's not all gold that shines. That's probably the teaching of this very month. Most of the month, we're already going through this. It's probably 2 months of this. Not all gold that shines, and not the loudest speaker that is the most correct, and not the fanciest territory that is the most peaceful and divine, and maybe not the smartest person that seems to be book smart or know all the facts. So this is something that is very easy now to see. It's about subtlety, it's about space, it's about holy union between people. It's about people having a quieter, more resonant time. And yes, of course, there's Venus and Jupiter in the sky, and you're like, well, like, tell me what this means. And yes, of course, this is one of the luckiest signs in the sky. And we all probably get the worth. And I've talked about Jupiter, Venus, for a while, and about people just being fine and safe, even if you are somebody kicking and screaming and always looking for conflict, or you're always looking for something to fight in your territory, or you want to get rid of things always, like you're questioning, or you're all over cleansing, overthinking, overbalancing, even if you're really neurotic sometimes. Jupiter, Venus at the beginning of March, she's going to just say, look, it's all fine. Like, this is like a little hug, you're at home now, it's okay. Like, don't question life anymore. Don't question your life. So there's going to be a lot of probably refugees getting homes. There's probably going to be an incredible amount of helpers helping with any kind of neurotic situations in life. So there's going to be safety. And for certain people that are very karmically blessed and really have come here for the right reasons, so they're living their life in a wider, more colorful spectrum and in a more innocent ways, there's just gonna be so many amazing opportunities. But the biggest picture sometimes is not the one that you seek or the one that you envision. It's actually quite crazy how this happens. You might think, okay, I'm going to look at my career. I'm going to try and get as many jobs as I can. And sometimes it does work in a literal way of, like, say, getting more clients than normal. Okay, and through those clients making more money than usually normal for you. But you see, this is not necessarily the happy place. I feel sometimes it's like when time is still and everything bad steps aside, and you suddenly see like a guarantee of a perfect world, or just an incredible enabling. So in my case, maybe it's going to be very different from yours. It depends. Everybody's going to get a certain type of gift of soul during this time, because we are going through Pisces. And then there are some people that are already benefiting incredibly well, people saving or able to make a lot more money than possible, their schemes turning out great. An idea or a scheme can pretty much be the only one, though, that you'll ever have to do. So sometimes it's the ones off. So for example, you make a scheme that lasts for your lifetime, or you could make one job, like for example, if you're an artist or a painter, you can make that one job and that feeds you for a lifetime. So this is a very, very big deal. Then some of us, we don't have that, or we don't want that anymore. It's not just about gains. It's not just about money, although Jupiter, Venus are happening second house to the sun. It's not just about that. It's about maybe the body. Some people want to solve it. Some people want to solve a big problem. So I do definitely get that not everybody's into detox these days, and I keep on bringing it up, and nobody wants to do it. But okay, like some people, for example, that have been cleansing and detoxing, they've been very kind, or they've been going through some kind of prayer circles, or they've been singing mantras, or they've been trying to stop the betrayals of their life and stop that feeling of not being needed, stopping the abuse cycle, stopping the depression. They want to stop these yes or no questions. They want to stop these fears. There are certain people that are going to be graced something incredible. It's like laying down in a warm bath and feeling that the universe is supporting you with its hands. It's feeling kinder than kind. It's like a pre-birth feeling. It's like being a child to an expectant mother-to-be, for lack of better metaphor. It's kind of like being between worlds still, while the world basically figures things out for you. And things might be presented to you during this month that are just like, I have no idea how the world made that happen. I have no idea. So this is quite crazy for me to see. Like, there is just luck and luck and luck. Well, there are different energies and feelings, and if you have been waiting for things to line up and to stop all questions and to really understand where you are at now and to know it and to feel it and to really get it, I think there's going to be one of those incredible, spacious and real nurturing months. But there's not that many people that can fully take advantage of everything out there because it's still too negative, or they're like too betrayed or portrayed in this way or that way. They're putting all the energy and time towards absolutely nothing good. And I know why this is, because there's like a quickening and there's a showing that yes, you can be whoever you want to be. Yes, you can do whatever you want to do. There's like this big window. It's almost like, yes, your dreams are answered. Yes, all of these heavy burdens have absolutely been lifted. Certain people have absolutely no burdens now. And then there's also like a question, okay, if you were free now, like, can you believe it? This is it. Like, can you believe it? But of course, this kind of depends on your previous traumas, karmas, and questions or understanding. So not every single person can just believe that their life is solved. Not every single person can believe that this is the partner that they will spend a lifetime with, or these are the people that they will probably be connected to through lifetimes. There are some very big jobs to be done also. There is some very crazy, amazing, creative architecture to be done with Chiron and a mix with Jupiter, Venus. It's not just like, well, so it goes. Let's all have fun. It can't just be like this. There are certain people that will have to work, and that there are such big maestros. There's huge masters of like architecture or design, or any kind of arts that are seen today, mathematicians, scientists that are going to go to work in order to get those ideas across. But there is not enough time for everybody to be that today. There's not everybody's cup of tea also in that which they're doing. So there's going to be some massive gems found in the juvenile communities of the nerds and the geeks, so there's going to be some very amazing large sums of money and incredible opportunities and responsibilities given to people that are completely devout to their art, to their religion, or their way of thinking. But not every single person is that person. I feel that in some ways, open your eyes, you guys. I feel that in some ways, also with this Mars and Gemini and this full house and the third house to the Sun and Taurus, the eyes of the third house, there is going to be like always something else. Also, this is something that is very crazy. If you're an opportunist, so if you're somebody who's incredibly optimistic and you just like to push any button you can, it's like, what does this combination do? What does this combination do? Hackers also, but it's not just this, it's just about trying to get into something and getting into it. So there are some people that are going to be able to get into a bank account, for example. But then there's also some people that are going to be able to get into the group or into the journey of their dreams. It's like pushing and pushing. Opportunists, also people that like to shop around, people that like to go between people and be unnoticed and try every door and try every doorway and door knocking and trying any person, calling people's numbers, trying anything. There is safety in that as well. So there are some people that are going to be on the road pretty quick, scurrying around with their little feet, with their big feet, like running around the world, trying to look for opportunities. There is a certain way that I believe the rabbit year works. If you want to be closer to safety and to a certain strength in numbers, if you want to have more power, and more space and more, not necessarily peace, but respect of other people, if you want to still belong in a certain societal group or work within society, try to go where other people are, or try to make sense of people as a whole and not feel disrespectful of them. So feeling warmth and joining of hearts and a certain type of compassion and altruism, that really needs to happen in groups of people right now. And if you are not this way inclined, if you're like, thinking about yourself and you're thinking about where is your getaway and how you can get rid of this and get rid of that, and if you have no compassion for yourself or anybody else, then yeah, the journey is the question. And I've seen a lot of people also wishing to suddenly take off and be the journeyman or the journey woman, and to have nobody know where they're going, where they are, due to some crude events that have happened in their life or certain cruelties that have happened in the world. So people going through a little exodus, setting up tents, God knows where, like doing things around the place, having absolute return of the nomad in certain places of the world. That's not a bad thing. It's just important to see if there is trust, if there is still safety in numbers. For example, usually nomads would travel in like classical tribes of six to four people, four to six people, sometimes 12 people. That's a normal nomadic group. But like, for example, if you are just alone with your suitcase and your secret passwords and your, couple of bags of clothes, that's not so good. So this depends. Right now, being chipped away and being absolutely not of this world and having absolutely nothing and nobody to answer to, and having no friends basically, and having no people that can recognize you or that can really see you for who you are, it is not that it's dangerous necessarily, but it can start to be. So also becoming a person that is kind of uneconomical for other people, and you're constantly defined as kind of a juvenile or an overgrown person, or people don't know how to place you into their homes and societies where relationships don't work because people can't identify with you, or they would never do what you want to do. For example, you're showing people your work or you're showing people what you're up to, they just really can't. They can't hear you. Also, it's a really interesting sign during this time when you're talking to somebody and you're just being yourself and they're like, what? Never mind that person. If they can't hear you or they don't think that you're good enough of your work, if your center, like say how you communicate with life or what you do in life is not audible, it's not digestible. Now that's very, very difficult. If you're noticing that no matter what you do, what you say, or how you present, you're like landing on deaf ears and there's no community now, or there never was, then maybe it would be good for you to travel. But this sort of depends on how you see it. Some 12 years ago, I've chosen to travel during a rabbit year, which is quite an unusual choice because usually it is best for masking and bolting things up and making a more secure network of people or a stronger house. It's not about a traveler's way. I found it to be a very successful year nonetheless because I was feeling like I wasn't wanted or seen by the society where I was living. And that was, in fact, a truth. And through so many mind-boggling changes in my life, I eventually completed the cycle and I didn't want to come back to the previous forms of energy. So this is like quite a huge thing for me. To also say, yeah, I did it about 12 years ago. So in terms of chipping away from society and no longer wanting to be treated a certain way, growing out of my previous grounds and previous identities that already happened to me 12 years ago. But not every single person wants that. So for example, if you want to chip off the block, people say a chip off the old block, if you want to chip off and tumbleweed through life, or you want to somehow find who you are, there's going to be a lot of people wanting to do that eventually because it is so weird for them, for example, to dream a certain dream, like to work a 9 to 5, to never be heard, never be understood, for your story to be absolutely not wanted in a certain place, and also people squinting hard at you, not understanding what you're saying. All of that is very damaging. So if you wanted, if you're wanting to be somebody very, very prim and very proper in front of people, that's it. I mean, like, look at how hard you have to work to be able to define yourself. Although some people really do love it, they love to be prim and pruned, and they enjoy having a certain significance in a story because of how well they have presented themselves or accentuated who they are. And I do definitely understand that this really high quantum, high level conformity is going to be part of the path. It's got to be part of the path. It's just got to be. Then there are going to be lots of people that are like, okay, that's enough. I can't do this anymore. I can't. It's boring. It's safer out there. Like, I'd rather seriously sleep in a tent with a potential bear waking me up in the middle of the night than stay in the city any longer. And then trying so hard and wasting my breath and wasting my power as like one of the tiny little cogs in a game. That's also right. That's also right. But you see, it's going to be good to still have somebody here. And I think that the countryside and countryside experiences are probably very legit, and they probably would be the less burdensome for everybody who's interested in changing their life and weaseling out of the burrow that they've built. So I feel that in this part of the rabbit year, everybody is placed. Here's your friends, here's your job, here's your restaurant, here's your community, here's your enclosure, basically. It's like an enclosure, it's like a little kingdom of different rabbits, and they all get on. But you see, they're all kind of like, and they love each other, they trust each other, but there's always going to be like a little bit of nuisance in the air. There's going to be a little bit of psychosis and a bit of judgment. It's going to be a bit of fuss. And I do have to say that Pisces is a cleaning agent. It's a cleaning month. It's about cleaning up your life, cleaning up your workload, cleaning up, getting clean. You know, it's about having clean relationships and clean conduct and having things just as so. You know, it's not so good for like a big adventure or a big neurosis, but there are separatist people and separatist movements, and also because of this Lilith Sappho, I suggest in Leo, I suggest not going there because there's a huge amount of guilt, ego, and pride with these movements. So like having a sudden exchange with people that is very forceful and very strong, having to be suddenly somebody, that's going to cost quite a lot of people. And it can even be costly to an extreme. So for example, taking a lot of substances or doing something very extreme. The scars don't come off easily in a rabbit year. So it's not just about, okay, we kind of had fun and then this person turned, but then we came back to being what? You won't come back to being friends afterwards. So breakups and huge changes and this grand idea to travel the world suddenly and never come back home, to run away. All of this running away and being somebody, you have to be so backed up and so prepared. But there is quite a lot of mystery. So like quite a lot of searching. Quite a lot of searchers probably waking up now saying, I just want to go, I just want to go. And also Pisces is the famous sign for international travel and travel far distances in general. So that's the thing. Not every single person is going to get the most out of these types of travels, and if you really don't want to come back, if you really don't see a point of anything you have, this is hard. Saturn going into Pisces, Pluto going into Aquarius, Venus coming up to Chiron and Jupiter. It's a hard time. It's a hard time to decide, to design your life. And you also, Venus will be traveling all the way through the North Node. You know, also Mercury is going to be traveling all the way down into Aries this month. You know, people really want to experience something exotic and something kind of stale and interesting, mysterious, and then they want something more practical, more physical, and something that's good for you. You know, so people are going to be tried and tested, you know. So also if you're like a very commercial person, maybe don't fret if you have no numbers or no contacts. This will happen. If you are very, very amazing at talking, if you really, really are amazing at who you are, by the end of the month, you probably will get yourself where you want to be. Jupiter and Sun are going to meet next month of April, and Venus is going to also take her time there, in Taurus. We're going to inevitably, eventually, have what it takes to be able to handle the competition. We're going to eventually be able to go there if we really want to go there. If you have some really, really big dreams and ambitions, and if you really want to make it and you still aren't happy with who's around you and what's around you, I suggest try to rejoice at this level. Like, this is the smartest way to do it. Although Pisces is like a river, and sometimes it can make things go really quick, and sometimes your ambitions are larger than the world itself. That's true. But let's try this. Okay, so I feel that generally it's good to respect this as the end of the year, meaning it's good to see Pisces as glamorous and as hardcore as it's going to be this year. Still just a Piscean sign, so it's about letting go, it's about revival. Some people need to cleanse, drink a lot of water. Some people just have to stay at home. Maybe certain people have to really find themselves within, have some TLC, tender love and care. Some people have to refrain from doing a lot. Some people have to just not speak so much of certain topics and just let it go away. Like, let it go away. Allow things to disappear. Allow certain contacts to drop off. Allow certain people to be no longer reachable, and even letting segregation and inability to show up, or vulnerability in certain places, just be like, I can't handle it. I can't handle it. I don't want to be part of this, or I don't want to be part of this movie anymore. Letting certain complacency, it doesn't have to be dark, complacency take its toll. And for a lot of people with Pisces energy, yeah, it's good to just go there, have a clean, bathe in the river, bathe in hot springs. It's beautiful time to take some time apart, basically. They could probably fix everything. Contemplation, and also the ones that are going to be better off are just ones that are trying to experience more grace, people that are wanting to experience larger, more open spaces, people that love to be alone, people that love to contemplate life, also people that love to see how the best things may be. So you're not just a child crying because mother abandoned you, because father didn't care. It's about you as an adult forming your system, forming your life in a way that can support also other people and teach people something. So it's not about the crybaby. The time of crying is over. We have such a strong and strengthening time with this Venus Jupiter. It's such an incredible place in the world that you probably are already in, and I talked about that in the Pluto videos and also some of the Saturn videos. For a lot of people, you just have to be happy as to where life has led you. Some people can't go past a certain point. Rabbit here kind of traps energy. Sometimes it contracts. So this is as good as it gets for quite a lot of people, and within reason also. It's good to be balanced. It is good to say thank you. It's good to start repetitive behavior also. For example, mantras, singing, like bathing rituals, like massage therapy, like aromatherapy, sleeping earlier, sleeping in for some people, starting long-term work and also long-term ideas that are possibly based on a more spiritual, romantic side of life rather than just working all day. And then eventually, I think a lot of people, through some grace and consciousness expansion, through some prayer, which is what Pisces is known for, praying and intention setting, as also this Mercury is going through Pisces as well during the first half of this month. It's so nice to get rid of things also that you don't need. And yes, there is a spring cleaning action that's needed, of course, with March for some people, and the giving away of territory. This place, you really want this? Have it. You know what, this thing here, have it, enjoy it. So like certain people will just have to let go. So in terms of gracefully changing your life, and I know some people are so passionate and red hot because they know this is it, I have to change my life, I have to experience more, I have to mean more. Some people are really red hot. The idea basically is to learn to be more suave, and sometimes just after a couple of nights of wisdom sharing or drinking tea with a best friend or just some bathing in a pool of water, you might accidentally come to a great idea. But it's not about ideas. It's not just about this. It's about self-establishment in a new reality. So it's not about like, I know I got a great money-making scheme, I'm going to try that. Most people actually don't necessarily react to that. It's just about changing of dimensions. So some people are going to be slowly kind of bubbling into a different phase, kind of like slowly leading into a completely different type of lifetime. But that's not for everybody. So this is like before and after pregnancy, for example, or before and after falling in love, or before and after joining a team, or before and after changing your religious or spiritual perspectives on life, or before and after facing your illness, or before and after. But this is a nice gradual kind of jellyfish transition. It's a jellyfish transition that we're looking for, not just like, right, I'm going out of town and I'm not going to tell anybody where I'm going. So you don't have to get all frisky and rapid unless you really already have it lined up. And what is a lineup? I'll just say not for everybody. But for some people, there is a quick getaway. It's like I see a window and a window and a window and a window. So if you can imagine, there's a whole bunch of rooms with doorways, and basically you can just zoom or shoot right through. So this is kind of like what the rabbit here does. Not for everybody. If you have fully integrated your reality, if you have learned everything that this reality has to teach you, if you have had it all done and you have even started to stagnate or feel a little bit like sick because you've been in a certain type of relationship or reality for too long, and you definitely know that it is time to change, and life has been supporting you and even ushering you towards the next door, there's going to be a very easy kind of kaleidoscope of opportunities for certain people. But this is not about messing about, and certain moments matter. So this is like, I'm trying to protect you guys from harm's way. This is not for every single person, but there is an accelerating energy during this time, as yes, Mercury is going to cross the sun, and he's going to cross Jupiter and Chiron and everything. So it's going to be just like zooming through, but you got to prepare for it. So for example, when people say, Polina, I want to immigrate to another country, I'm like, do you have any relatives there? Do you have anybody that you can see? Have you got any contacts? What is it that you're there to do? Like, what is your intention for migration? Or what is your intention for completely jumping and hopping and just sprinting into the new life? I think some people are definitely good for it if you are strong, if you have strong muscles, if you have a strong spine, if you have a strong spleen. Maybe certain people would just be like, okay, switching off this YouTube thing, I'm just going to run. I'm going to run. And yes, some people, I already talked about this when the sun was close to Saturn. Some people are like, oh, run, run. So they just see the point, they got it, and it's like an instantaneous, no questions feeling, and then they just zoom through the window that is about to be open for them. But there's going to be only a handful of these people probably in any situation. So out of like 4,000 people, there's going to be about 5 or 6, maybe 7 people that can do this successfully with no questions. They just pack up, pick up, go. It's a very rare personality type, or it's a rare type of surgery or procedure. Very rare, once in a lifetime, quick change from zero to hero. That's a very, very rare and a big risk taker, and also somebody that has maybe, I don't know, wasted a lot of time, or that have learned a lot, or that have been part of very dubious results and situations. So quite a big risk-taking opportunity is going to be on the cards, but not for every single person. I feel that for most of the people in the world, it's better to experience a kind of slow disformation of reality and a reformation of reality. So it's like a slow jellyfish change. It's a slow gelatinous change. in Pisces without having to go into any kind of rapid and extreme results. And yes, of course, we do have, I'm finishing this up now, Aries here, of course, and when you are going into the vortex of the equinox, this is quite a big deal for me. I have created quite a big change in my life, quite a rapid result in my life by just celebrating the equinoxes and the solstices and seeing the sun to earth connection proportionately. And I have to tell you that this equinox isn't going to be quite as big a risk-taking equinox as usual for some people, because that Venus Jupiter has already taken quite a big step before the equinox, and it won't be probably as big a reason that you have for certain things as usual, but it will be probably automatic success for a lot of people. So that hop in reality, hop in dream isn't going to be like a huge hop. It probably has already happened in Aquarius or Pisces for some people, that big change. So the change is not huge, but the reason why you want to be a part of something, or the reason why things work, are probably quite minor, but they're going to be probably very obviously spaced for success. So if you are doing anything this year very, very intense and very ambitiously, it is not just about having a dream, it's about having focus and a certain type of time to study and a temperament to be able to take that journey forward. So it's actually not for every single person, unless you're really well backed up by your family or their money or your own money or savings or something. Most people are going to have to go and do quite a lot of working out and changing of things, and quite a lot of scrupulous amount of work is going to go into their projects from here on, if you really want to get a finessed, pure, golden mean result. But everybody is going to do it in a different way. I feel not every single person wants to also be the best. You see, some people are just gonna be like, yeah, you know, what we have here is good enough. So I suggest to you basically sprucing up. I mean, that's the only thing I got to say. If you want to do anything, it's about being spruced up. Rabbit ear does not like a mistake. It doesn't like a spelling error. It doesn't like bad behavior. It doesn't like dubious personalities. It doesn't like consistent faults. It wants only the crispness. And if you cannot provide it, you don't have to have it, you know. So if things are not as crisp as people expect or as you expect, it's just not going to be good. So the way that I would do it is polish up on that which you really want to perfect. It's like, have a gem that you know that you want to grow, or you want to express or experience. Like, say, I want to be a really good public speaker, go for it. Or I want to be a really good friend, go for it. Or I want to be very, very well dressed, a very well designed person, that's fine, that's okay. Whatever you got to go through, you'll go through it. It's just really important to get through it fast, because rabbit ear is not about slowly coming to result. Slow burning signs aren't gonna be very well. Slow burning people also, like, for example, if you have a slowness to you because of a certain character trait or neurological issue, or like weight gain, is going to be a healthy thing to consider first, your health and how you naturally process, because it's a quick, rapid, emotional, kind of scary sometimes, juvenile and slightly altruistic year. It's not for every single person, basically, to win and to be able to get there. It's very well designed. It's about crispness. You know, it's about like clean results. You know, it's about clarity. And it won't help every single person, but I think many people are lined up to win simply because they understand that. So basically, that's all I got. And also, if you want to know about your own sign, check out my Patreon channel. So on the Patreon channel, I have all 12 signs in audio, and I also have predictions for the days and the different significances. I got the special features for the month, and I also have a book out for the year if you want all the details about every sign and every aspect. Please have a look. It's all there today. Everything is in the links below. And also, if you'd like a reading, check me out. Check out my website and have a look at what I offer. And yes, sure, I will be here later on, and expect a barrage of Saturn videos this month. I will probably not do an extra equinox video simply because I don't really feel that it's not like it's not worth it this year. It's just a very shy little equinox, I feel, this time around. But I will build you guys up to it, and of course expect a video for the moon and such. So that's all coming this month. Thank you very much for joining me today and putting up with a whopping 50-minute video. Hey! Thank you, and I will see you next time.